joined by Mark Bauer after Guiseley's 4-1 home defeat against Eastleigh. Mark, first things first, 9 goals conceded in 2 games.
Well, I'm not interested in Tuesday night. This is about today, and obviously disappointed that we lost the game. We've had to put a bit of a patched up team out there today. A few carrying knocks, and obviously we've got several missing. And yeah.
Good afternoon, welcome along here to Nethermore Park for Guiseley A.F.C. versus Bromley F.C. here in the Vanarama National League. Alongside me will be Nick Keefe alongside Chris Bell for this afternoon's game. And I've got Tom Feeney alongside me as well. We're going to briefly hear from Mark Bauer, and as well we'll touch on a busy week in the Vanarama National League this week with managerial ins and outs and players going all over the place as well. We'll start off though by hearing from Mark Bauer after last week's result away at Tranmere, a 2-1 defeat. Here's what Mark had to say.
Joined now by Mark Bauer after the 2-1 defeat at Tranmere Rovers. Mark, heartbreaking last moments of that game with the penalty and 2-1. You must have thought we'd just about done enough to get that hard-earned point this afternoon.
I thought, you never think it's done until he blows his whistle. And we just got caught with one ball dropped in midfield there. Lad Nick say it gets hooked on and he's in, and then the Drenchy gives the referee a decision to make, and with his performance all afternoon, he knew the decision he was going to make. So bitterly disappointing in the end, because I thought they had their spell just before half time where they were putting us under pressure. Came out at the start of the second half and put us under pressure again, and had a couple of chances, but I thought we sort of got through that, and then as the longer it went on, we actually looked more comfortable, and they were getting a little bit desperate. Drenchy were coming and catching things. We were comfortably clearing things up. They didn't really have much of a chance in the last 20-25 minutes, and we just felt that we were going to see it through. And in fact, we probably looked a little bit more dangerous on the counter attack ourselves. But yeah, cruel right at the end. Bitterly disappointing for everyone. Maybe a few tired legs in there, a few shortened games recently. Just catches up with you right at the end against a side like this. But no, again, they gave everything they had for us, and just disappointing that we can't, don't come away with anything.
As much as the result of disappointment, the character of the team today must be a positive thing.
Yeah, we were, defended. Once we'd sort of weathered that storm at the start of the second half, winning headers, tackles, tracking runners, we defended it really well, and saw it, felt we were seeing it out pretty comfortable, and then just a bit of a hopeful one over the top catches us out. But we know the lads will give everything they've got for us, and we know coming up places like this we're up against it. So yeah, that's just what we need to see week in, week out. If we have that against some of the lesser teams, then we'll be able to get some results.
Great goal in the first half from Danny Boschel that gave us a lead.
Yeah, I thought we started the game well. We knew what we wanted to do, try and force them back and get Gav on the ball a little bit. We managed to get Gav on it, puts a cross in, cleared, and Bosch took it really well. Great goal. Could have had one before that as well with Anthony Dudley through. A couple of other openings where we got running it there back four. Final ball could have just been better. We could have been a couple in front before they really had a chance. They're always going to have a spell of pressure, and we just couldn't manage to see it through before half time. Absolutely diabolical decisions for the 2 corners that were given that led to that goal. It just, when we turned up at the ground and we saw the referee, it was a referee that we had at Wrexham a few weeks ago, and I can't possibly say what the lads said when they found out about that, and he was true to form, to be fair. No arguments with the penalty, he's got to give the penalty, but everything else today, it certainly did feel like big club, little club out there. So disappointed with that. You need all the help you can get when you come into a place like this, and if teams just gifting corners that they're going to throw in the box against, we're going to fight. we'll end up conceding goals. So disappointed from that point of view. Thought we'd seen it through to get a point, and just a real sucker punch at the end.
Great support again from the travelling supporters there today.
Brilliant support, yeah. They've come in great numbers. First time that the club have been here, I believe, and just feel as much for them as we feel. That we couldn't send them home with something to cheer, but I think pretty much everyone stayed and clapped the lads off at the end, and that's really appreciated by all the players. We've had 3 tough games. Obviously the Cheltenham, Guiseley and Bromley games. I think those 3 teams will finish in the top 5. It's 2 of them away from home. It's been a tough run. Disappointing we've not been able to get any points out of it, but there's been plenty of positives to take from the performance.
Well, that was Mark Bauer speaking after the 2-1 defeat at Tranmere Rovers last Saturday. A game where Guiseley went ahead but couldn't end up getting all 3 points. Welcome along to Nethermore Park, the home of Guiseley A.F.C. for this Vanarama National League game between Guiseley and Bromley. We'll go through the 2 teams for you now, starting with the home side, Guiseley. Steve Drench in goal, and then Danny Lowe, Adam Lockwood, Jake Lawler, Adam Boys, Gavin Rothery, Will Hatfield, Adam Smith, Anthony Dudley, Oliver Norburn and James Hurst. And on the bench for Guiseley, Ryan Toulson, Tom Craddock, Liam Dickinson, Dan Atkinson and Nicky Boschel. And on the lineup, the starting 11 for the visitors for Bromley, they look as follows: Chris Kettings, Emmanuel Udoji, Aaron Turnois, Ali Fusini, Rob Swain, the captain, Jack Holland, Pierre-Joseph Dubois, Reece Prestige, Lee Minshall, Moses Emmanuel and Ben Chorley. On the bench, Paul Rogers, Alex Wall, Thomas Connor, Dan Ajakei, Eden Dewar Douglas. So that's the 2 lineups for this afternoon's game. Alongside me for this one is Nick Keefe. Hello, Nick.
Good afternoon. You've picked a right day for it, haven't you?
It's absolutely horrible. Grey skies. It has now started to come down literally just as the players were making way over the tunnel. It's been spitting for the last hour or 2, but it's properly come down since the players have emerged from the tunnel. A game, Nick, that, when you look at Bromley's form, a game that we really need to look at and look to be taking 3 points at, because, they have been in a poor run of form. Let's face it, ours hasn't been great, but a game that if we get the lead, we expect to keep it.
Well, yeah, and it's a good, strong team that Mark's been able to put out today. Nearly a full-strength team, without the perennial absentees, Ben Parker, obviously Ollie Johnson. But compared to recent weeks where it's been real bare-bones stuff, there's a very strong 11 out there today. Everyone able to play in a position that they should be able to do well in. And I think the key things to look out for today: Adam Smith on a good pitch. Last time we saw him here at home, it was a real tough playing surface because of the amount of rain. Can he make an impact today? Can Anthony Dudley getting himself involved, playing in an inside left forward position? As we seeing a controversial change of ends, a break to the norm here at Nethermore, Chris.
Yeah, this doesn't happen often. There's a change of ends. I don't know who won the coin toss there, but I'm going to hazard a guess that it was Bromley, because in this first half, Guiseley will get kick-off and they'll be shooting from left to right towards the car park end.
And crucially, into what is quite a strong wind.
Yeah, certainly would seem to me then that Bromley won the toss then. Of course, in Bromley, they've got Moses Emmanuel up there in the league. I think he's got 13 or 15 goals so far this season. Whilst Bromley have stalled and stuttered in recent weeks, he has been ever present on the score sheet for the side as we get underway here at Nethermore. It will be Guiseley in the home kit of white shirts, navy shorts and navy socks, kicking from left to right, and Bromley in their away kit of all red. As the early exchanges take place, Emmanuel looking to close down Jake Lawler. What are you expecting from this side that Mark Bauer's put out, Nick?
Actually, it's lined up slightly differently to how I expected. As I was looking at it, I wondered whether Danny Lowe might be playing centre-back. So many new players. As Stephen Drench just demonstrates how windy it is out there, turning a freak-long pass over his goal for a Bromley corner. So many new players with our team sheet. It takes a little while to get your head around who's playing.
Well, the corner's been taken short. It's been played to outside the area. Cross comes in. Nobody there to get a head on it. Jack Holland, the number 6 for Bromley, was the closest to getting something on it, but he couldn't, and the ball goes out of play. for a goal kick. But as you say, there's been a lot of new additions. When you look through that Guiseley side, you've got numbers between 1 and 14, and then all of a sudden the last 4 players on the team sheet, 33, 34, 35 and 36, which tells you just how many changes have been made that Mark's made since the start of the season.
Yeah, and it does mean there's a fresh midfield combination and defensive combination. Today, Jake Lawler actually be playing at centre-half, where he's played in recent weeks alongside today Adam Lockwood returning.
And again, the win there. Early days, Stephen Drench's clearance usually excellent, and his kicking, getting it downfield, held up by the wind and just blows straight out of play. Throw-in's been taken by Bromley. Adam Smith now gets it clear down the line, finds Adam Boys. Boys now back to Rothery. Rothery plays a great ball over the top, looking to find Anthony Dudley. It has been cleared away by Bromley. Now Lockwood, he sends it forward. Again, Boys will give chase up against Rob Swain, the Bromley captain. This ball goes back now to Bromley. They look to come forward now with Holland. Played forward by Tumwa. And that goes all the way through to Steve Drench.
Yeah, both teams need to get their passing players on the ball early on, get a feel for the conditions. Differing challenges for the two teams. Bromley will find their forward passes get away from them, as that last one just did. Obviously, Guiseley are going to find theirs not going as far as they should. And that'll be a challenge for the likes of Hatfield and Norburn and the centre-backs, who are more likely to be making those kind of long clearances or passes.
Throwing now for Guiseley, taken by James Hurst. Flicked back in field by Adam Boyce. The ball back at the feet of James Hurst now into Rothery. Back out to Adam Smith, the man in on loan from Wrexham. Takes it to the byline, gets a cross in, and it was met by the head of Adam Boyce, but he couldn't direct it goalwards. It's only 3 or 4 yards wide, if that. Good effort, really good ball in. And it's the man that you'd want on the end of it, but he just couldn't quite find the accuracy on that occasion.
Well, nice move that by Guiseley. Boys, to lose his marker, had to come slightly wider than the near post. And so he was outside of the line of the goal. Very difficult to head it backwards. Needed to go into the near post to have any power behind it at all. Very, very difficult from the angle that he'd found himself in. And of course, to get there, he'd lost his marker, and so promising signs in the box early on.
Hatfield plays a good ball down the left-hand side now, finds Anthony Dudley. Dudley makes a little bit of headway coming in field, pulls it across the edge of the box with his left, finds Rothery. Rothery gets inside the box, looks to get the cross in. Takes a deflection off a Bromley player, out for a throw-in on that far side, which Danny Lowe is going to come forward to take. We've got 4 minutes on the clock here at Nethermore. Guiseley 0, Bromley 0. Cross comes in. That's closed down by Bromley. Almost falls kindly for Adam Boyce, but it has been cleared away. As Lee Minshaw now looks to turn and come forward. The ball goes out on that far side for a throw. The Bromley bench claim it's theirs. The referee says otherwise, throwing for the home side.
I think really important pairing to look up at for Guiseley today will be Gavin Rothery and Anthony Dudley. They really enjoy playing together. They've shown good understanding of each other with quick passing in previous games. Dudley's first choice wouldn't be to be playing out wide on the left, and so to be as involved in the game as he possibly can be. He's going to have to use the playmaker there, Rothery, just in field to allow him to play a few touch and moves, get himself in off the touchline so he can get into shooting opportunities.
He is going to be looking for that give and go, really, isn't he, with Rothery, as you say, to get more in field.
Absolutely. Very different player to Smith out on the right, who will be looking to stay wide and cross. We know that that's his strength. Dudley really a striker at heart. He'll be looking for opportunities to come in field.
Ball back now with Stephen Drench as he gets it long downfield. The wind drops for a second as the ball gets all the way up towards Adam Boyce, but he lost out in the air. And now the ball with Moses Emmanuel, tried a fancy back heel, hasn't come off. Now Lowe finds Dudley. He's got Ali Fusini next to him. And Fusini does enough. The referee is giving a free kick in Bromley's favour. Wasn't a great deal in that for me. It certainly seemed that Bromley hadn't been able to just get the ball forward. The referee says there was a foul in there as the ball forward came to nothing. So Ali Fusini, the former Lincoln Millwall midfielder, As one of the two men stood over this ball along with Lee Minshall. It will be Minshall, crosses it into the box, met with the head of Emmanuel, not cleared away at first attempt. I think Holland was the man there that was looking to get a shot on the swivel. Guiseley just about, well, they almost got the lines clear, and then at the last second, Bromley did just enough to get enough players in there to keep the pressure on. Here's Adam Smith. Looks to get him out to Hurst because sliding challenge comes in from Lee Minshall.
Just getting my hands confused there, Chris. I was about
You were about to try and talk into your cup of tea, weren't you? Try and drink
started.
your microphone.
Yeah. Good.
It's all right. I think the cold's got to you, mate. It isn't a particularly, let's be honest, it's not a pleasant day here in West Yorkshire.
No.
It's Tumler sends the ball in field. Now in Minshall. Good crossfield ball. Looking for Adoji. Adoji slipped, though, and that's allowed Anthony Dudley to come forward. It plays a good ball into the path of Adam Boyes. He went sliding in with the goalkeeper. I think that should be the end of that. He had to go for it. Likewise, the keeper had to come and claim it as well. And the referee doesn't do any more. He's just given the goal kick.
Lovely bit of play by Anthony Dudley. Out on the left, threaded a ball in behind for Boyes to run on to. Very nearly got to it, as you say. Boyes had to slide in. No significant contact with the keeper. Keeper was brave. Boyes was brave. Keeper got there first. Good opportunity for Guiseley. Good goalkeeping by Kettings.
Now Danny Lowe looks to get the ball forward. It's been returned by Bromley. Now they've got Reece Prestige. Ball comes across to this left-hand side. That's going to roll out for a goal kick.
Yeah, for those of you lucky enough to be indoors this afternoon, it's one of the afternoons where I'd say you're lucky to be listening to us rather than stood out here in it today. It's I don't know about you, Chris, but I've got 3 pairs of socks. I got long johns on under my jeans. I've got 3 tops and a fleece.
Call yourself a northerner?
I've got gloves on, and I've got a hat for if things get really brassic later on. So we're.
Well, last week at Tranmere was the first week this season that I have pulled out the gloves and hat combo.
Colin traditionally manages to wait until August before he starts bringing out his gloves and hat.
Been head tennis in the centre of the park then as Bromley look to get the ball under control. There's Fusini, gets the ball into Emmanuel. He just looked for the deft touch to set a teammate away, but Guiseley have cleared it. Back downfield, now down this left-hand side from Bromley. And James Hurst. Well, he was going to let that go, I think, for a goal kick, but as it is, it never went. Or did it go out for a throw? It seems,
Yeah,
that was the call.
just curved out and back in again.
Hurst takes the throw. Sent forward again by Bromley. And again, Jake Lawler is the Guiseley man there to get it away. Now's Joseph Dubois. The Frenchman gets a good ball into the box. Finds Emmanuel, the flag, up against Moses Emmanuel. Some continental sounding names in this Bromley side, isn't there? You know, you've got Pierre Joseph Dubois, Moses Emmanuel, Ali Fusina.
Saying they're a bit more exotic sounding than Anthony Dudley, who every time I say his name, I assume he's from Birmingham. Adam Smith. You're saying the more exotic names than the very rare and special.
Danny Lowe. Meanwhile, here's one of those non-exotic names. Will Hatfield doing well, gets the ball out to Adam Smith. On this right-hand side, he's got Tumwer ahead of him. Looks to get the better of the fullback. Fullback does well, though. Ball comes back now to James Hurst. Hurst delivers a low cross in. Comes now to Hatfield. Hatfield goes for goal. Pulls it across in the end. And nobody gets on the end of it. He looks set to shoot. I think that's what he was intending on doing. But instead it flashed across goal. Past a couple of red shirts and a couple of white shirts. All the way out for a throw.
Well, it's been a strong start by Guiseley so far. Of course, the questions for us are always about how many opportunities we need before taking a goal. But every reason to be optimistic about the way the game has started so far. As Bromley make an absolutely dreadful hash of a throw in there. I think their right back has thrown it in and it's blown straight back out of play. Guiseley have an attacking throw just a few yards outside the area.
Guiseley still in possession. Hatfield now linking it with Rothery. Comes back to Hatfield under pressure from Lee Minshall. And free kick has been given in Guiseley's favour.
Is this the gloves going on? The thump of...
Yeah, this is me trying to at least get one glove on for the hand that's holding the microphone.
Good stuff. Yeah, holding a metal microphone I've always found
is a problem in the winter.
Makes a cold situation
Free
worse.
kick taken down low on that left-hand side. Plays a really good ball in. Takes a touch off a red shirt on its way through. Throw-in taken now by Hurst. Plays the 1-2 with Will Hatfield. Hurst now delivers across, left-footed, looking for Boyce. Headed away well by Emmanuel Odoji. There's 3 players go down in a heap in the centre of the park. The play continues. Referee awards nothing. Here's Joseph Dubois. Now Tumwa looks to turn and get away from Adam Smith and does well. The left back. He's found Moses Emmanuel. That goal threat cleared away by James Hurst. Ricochets off Tumwa and out for a goal kick. The one thing that I'm going to say about Moses Emmanuel straight off is he isn't a particularly big player at all, is he? He's the small, nippy, tricky little kind of centre forward, rather than what you expect or what is stereotypical of this level. In honesty, the target man, he's the complete opposite.
Yeah, absolutely, and so he'll be looking to presumably to try his pace out against Adam Lockwood, who's busy trying his pace out against Jack Holland and not making a great success of it so far. It was a strange one that Lockwood had. There was no one showing for him for a pass, so he was striding forward and then suddenly found himself racing for his own ball. We've conceded a throw in now. Lockwood just having a chat with the referee
it's
about.
It's a free kick.
Is it?
Following on from Lockwood chasing his own ball and putting that challenge in, the free kick's been given.
Marvellous. Well, he was having a chat with Mr. Wigglesworth to try and cover his own blushes and talk himself out of a yellow card then.
Well, he has avoided the yellow, but he has conceded a free kick. On the right of play, just inside the Guiseley half, level roughly with the edge of the centre circle as the cross comes in now from the free kick. A couple of heads go in, a couple of players go down, and the free kick goes in Guiseley's favour. Honestly, couldn't really see much of anything in that. 6-1 half against the other. There's a couple of players were pushing and shoving from each side, and I think we ended up with a couple falling over from each side.
Apparently Halifax are 1-0 up.
Ooh. And they're playing Colin Robertson's favourite side, Dover. Indeed.
Sorry, I just needed to clear my throat. I should have given written warning that I was planning to do so.
This may not be to everybody's taste. However, we as a what are we? We're not a company. We're a team.
We're a bunch of well-meaning volunteers.
As Moses Emmanuel looks to get away from Lockwood, it's been defended well in the end by Guiseley. Norburn plays the 1-2. Yeah, I think as a team, we've kind of looked at this fixture as one that we wouldn't mind Halifax winning too much. Of all the fixtures. If somebody was going to be beaten by Halifax, we'd be quite pleased it's Dover, as we desperately hope we don't get them in the FA Trophy draw on Monday. Ball forward from Bromley. Bromley play goes down the box, goes through for a goal kick. Sorry, Nick.
I think we should take a very rotund Guiseley AFC radio five-a-side team down to play the Dover Board of Directors as a closed season friendly for charity.
I'll sharpen my studs. I mean, I'll take my studs out.
Yeah.
And put down that hacksaw.
Unless you've got insurance for them.
Can you imagine the public liability insurance on that, Nick? Can you?
I can't.
Anyway.
We'll let this go by about Christmas 2017.
To be fair, I'm just not going to go there as Moses Emmanuel looks to get him now beyond Adam Lockwood. Moses Emmanuel pulls it across goal, drags it wide. Well, so wide that it's not gone out of play yet. As well goes back to, Danny Lowe and Stephen Drench got themselves in an almighty mix-up, much to the pleasure of the travelling Bromley fans behind that goal, the ones that are braving the rain.
Well, calamitous defending, but the bigger story there was just how Adam Lockwood was beaten for pace.
As the cross comes in from the corner now towards the back post, goes out for a throw, takes a touch of a Guiseley player, so throw is in Bromley's favour.
As you would expect, Emmanuel, as we said a few moments ago, the quicker of the two men. And he'll be looking to get himself one-on-one to run at Lockwood a few more times in this game, you think?
As Aaron Tumwer now comes forward to take this throw, less than 6 yards away from the corner flag, so in a very good position from Bromley's point of view as the ball is sent in. Comes back now to the captain, Rob Swain, who got an initial header on it. It came back out to the throwing taker, Tumwer. He played it back in, and Swain swung a leg at it. Couldn't do anything really than put it over the bar.
Well, guys, they've weathered that particular storm. But, after a bright opening, they've had to withstand some pressure of their own. Now a moment to regroup.
Don't forget, you can get in touch with us this afternoon here on Guiseley AFC Radio. Just tweet us as Stephen Drench's clearance goes a little bit short. Lawler's there though, he hooks it forward. Do get in touch at Guiseley Radio on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts and views on this afternoon's game and on Guiseley's season in general as the ball is played down the left-hand side now to Anthony Dudley. Dudley looks to get the better of Emmanuel Adoji and doesn't do so. Still Harry's and presses though. The ball goes out of play via a touch from Dudley for a throw in on that far side.
Yeah, the wind had just picked up again there, which is why the restart from Drench was sort of poor and fell short because the wind had just got going again. Really good work by Dudley, having tried once to beat the Doji there. He didn't give up and flounce. He stuck at it and penned Bromley back a little bit for the moment, although they do restart with this throw-in.
And it is that man Udoji to take the throw, goes long down the line, gets it to the halfway line, half the length of the Bromley half. This boys goes forward as he certainly felt there was a touch there, but the ball's back at the feet of the Bromley keeper Chris Kettings, former Crystal Palace player. Now the ball has gone from one end straight to the other through to Stephen Drench. He rolls this one short to Danny Lowe, sends it down that left-hand side. Now Hatfield does well, picks it up away from Ali Fusini, then plays a good ball down the left. Looking to find Gavin Rothery, who's out there. It's cleared away, though, by Bromley. Back into the Guiseley half. Clearance forward from Daniel Lowe isn't the best. But Guiseley doing relatively well to keep possession at this stage. 18 minutes gone. Guiseley 0, Bromley 0. Here on Guiseley AFC Radio. The commentary team, myself, Chris Bell. Alongside me is Nick Keefe. Now Will Hatfield on the ball for Guiseley. Plays a good ball out to Adam Smith. Smith cuts back inside. Gonna have to play this on his left. Instead, sends a nice little ball through. Nobody on the save wavelength length as him, though, as he flicked it with the outside of his right foot through a gap. I think he was hoping for Boys to go chasing, but Boys wasn't really aware of the idea, I don't think, there.
Well, I think it was Will Hatfield, actually. Hatfield was just ahead of him, and Smith was pointing at the same time. But not quite, as you say, on the same wavelength. It was a nice idea.
A little intricate play that everybody loves to see, really.
Well, it's new players getting used to each other as well, and on another player in that position, you might see a shot using the left.
Here's Gavin Rothery looking to beat three. Plays a nice 1-2 with Anthony Dudley. Ends up in a crowd of 3 red shirts, though. Odoji loses his footing there as he looks to play the ball away and get it clear. Instead, he slips and it skews out for a throw-in, still inside the Bromley half. The ball now back on the halfway line with Rob Atkinson. He loses his footing. Whilst we haven't seen the amount of rain that we had perhaps at the last couple of home games, it certainly seems to be a very slippery surface. There's numerous players have lost their footing already in the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Danny Lowe.
Adam Lockwood it was, the man who lost his footing.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, because if he loses his footing awkwardly, that could be a groin strain, I think.
You're saying he's old?
Your words, not mine. As Smith goes for goal from distance. Started out on target and then just bent away from goal.
Well, this is what I was saying a moment ago on the edge of the area. Smith getting used to new players. Smith's a very right-footed player. He will really try to use his right almost all of the time, which is why the defenders are repeatedly forcing him to turn inside, trying to stop him delivering with his right foot, which is...
To be fair to him, he seems confident enough to come in and try and use his left.
Yeah, but he on the previous attempt, the reason Hatfield didn't read where he was going was because actually it made more sense to do something with his left than the poke with the outside of the right foot, which was the more inventive option. That time he did have a go with his left, and it wasn't a particularly convincing shot at that. So there's a little period of time now for Guiseley where players have to get to know each other's preferences and strengths and things that they will do. We haven't seen a huge amount down the right so far from Hurst and Smith, and the two of them talking to each other right now, taking up position and agreeing markers. It's going to be a little while before they know the best of each other and how to play together.
They linked up relatively well at Tranmere last week. To say it was James Hurst's debut. And so far they've linked up relatively well, but of course that's just a bond that's going to get better and better as the season progresses. Now Lawler inside the Guiseley half, brings it up to the halfway line before playing it out to the right hand side to find Hurst. Back now to Lawler, sends a longer ball forward, looking to find Smith. It's held up in the wind very nicely. Smith goes down. I think he thought he'd been caught. It wasn't convincing either way. As Joseph Dubois now loses his footing. The Frenchman, Pierre-Joseph Dubois. I feel like I'm just saying his full name when I'm not. It's just double-barreled. You don't get that often at this level. The ball comes across now to James Hurst. Looks to link up with Adam Smith again. Smith again looks for the byline. Gets the cross in, headed away by Bromley on the first attempt. Sent back in by Norburn. Now comes to Hatfield. A lot of red shirts ahead of him. Now Hurst. Into the box now with Gavin Rothery. Challenge comes in from Ben Chorley, the experienced centre-half. And that goes out for a Guiseley throw. Again, just a few yards away from the corner flag. A good position for Guiseley. See if they've got a particularly long throw taker, though, is the question. Throw goes relatively short into the edge of the 18-yard box. Comes back out now to Hurst. Delivers a first-time cross. All across the face of goal. Dudley was the closest man, I think, to getting anything on it in a white shirt. But it goes out on that far side for a throw.
Oh, good delivery that time. Drilled across the face of goal in the danger area. Anyone able to get there in time to stab a foot or a stud onto it would have directed it goalwards. Very, very difficult to defend there in the Geoffrey Boycott corridor of uncertainty.
Headed up into the air now by Lockwood as Bromley looks to get the ball forward. And again, as the ball's played forward into Moses Emmanuel, Lawler just there to get something on it ahead of Emmanuel, otherwise he would have been through. The free kick goes in Guiseley's favour in the centre circle, taken quickly. Now Hurst brings it over the halfway line. Again, Smith makes the run on the right-hand side. Tunwell, unsure who to follow, gets caught out and teased and turned by Adam Smith, who chips across in, and the ball fizzed back across from Anthony Dudley. I think he was going for goal. And the referee says it took a touch on its way through off a Bromley shirt. I'm not convinced it did, in honesty, but it's a corner to Guiseley.
Our Bromley players look unhappy about it. I have to admit, I didn't see a touch. It was a really good cross in again. Good work by Smith, and a fizzing shot by Dudley on the reflexes of his left foot.
Well, the corner comes in, comes to nothing as it's cleared away. Now Norburn looks to go for goal, just strikes it along the ground into a Bromley player. Goes out that far side for a Guiseley throw.
It does make for reasonably good watching at the moment, this. There's a few players new into the team looking to impress. And just after I said we hadn't seen a great deal down the right so far, both Hurst and Smith in the last few moments have been making strides forward into the Bromley half there and the Bowling Green end.
Well, Oliver Norburn, we saw him first a fortnight ago in that game against Eastleigh, and he showed a good range of passing, something that we were very pleased with in his debut. Last week, didn't really get into the game that much at Tranmere. Hopefully he can do a little bit more in this game. It's the ball now at the feet of Dudley. He's got a couple of Bromley players around him. Pulls it back to Will Hatfield. Hatfield now looks to drive inside. A little bit heavy on the touch there, though, as Ali Fusini gets a challenge in. Now Norburn out onto this right-hand side now with James Hurst. Hurst gets the better of Pierre-Joseph Dubois, but his cross is pretty atrocious in honesty. He got more height than distance on it, and in the end it goes behind the goal.
Yeah, I think he's got his set square the wrong way around.
He's on a mathematical term.
Yeah, he's... anyway.
He's trying to bring intelligence and intellectuality to this broadcast.
You realise those are basically the same word.
You're not helping my cause here. Here's Adam Smith. Now Hurst. Sends this one long, looking to find Adam Boyes, who hasn't had a great deal to go off in this game so far. Now sent forward by Swain. Joseph Dubois' touch isn't there, it's a poor one, and now Adam Smith pulls out a lovely Lila Rabona. Will Hatfield challenges well. Unfortunate to see the ball go off in there for a throw-in for Bromley, but a lovely touch there from Adam Smith to play the pass.
Yeah, there's some invention and creativity that we haven't had down this right-hand side.
As Emmanuel's touch lets him down there, and Guiseley back in possession as the rain continues to come across in droves from right to left. Free kick goes against Guiseley there. And of course, as we were saying about that, in particular the right midfield role of which we now have Adam Smith, the man on loan from Wrexham, and James Hurst at right back, somebody else that can push forward and likes to push forward on loan from Torquay. Of course, this week Wayne Brooksby has gone out on loan to North Ferriby United, Nick.
Yeah, well, a lot of the players that we came up to this division with have found the step up very challenging. And Mark's obviously decided to try one or two new faces, and no footballer wants to not be playing, and no footballer wants to not be match fit when they're called upon. So that's obviously one of the tough decisions Mark has had to make when he's brought some new people in. I think if Anthony Dudley and Adam Smith have both got that ability to play on the right of midfield, then same as with Danny Hall, really, at the start of the season, going out to Bradford Park Avenue through no lack of commitment to the cause or whatever. That if there are new players in those positions, it's only fair to give people a chance to keep playing their trade somewhere else for the time being. We'll have to see how that pans out. Obviously, if Mark's gamble or Mark's judgment is correct, and Adam Smith is the man for that position, then I don't think anybody would begrudge the decision to sign a new player if he adds something extra to the team. It's never nice to see one of your stalwarts go either, like it wasn't with Danny Ellis in the summer. But we haven't mentioned his name once so far this season because Rob Atkinson and Adam Locke would have been so good.
Free kick now for Bromley, midway inside the Guiseley half. It's a good ball met by the head of Jack Holland. And the referee's given a corner, but that certainly seemed to be a goal kick from everybody's perspective. I mean, even the Bromley players were running back into a defensive position as guys were looking to push forward as well.
Well, he's obviously decided to even it up after the funny one at the other end about 5 minutes ago.
So we've got a corner now for Bromley, completely unjustified as the cross comes in from Ali Fusini towards the back post. Guiseley man gets his head onto it. It was shoved in the end by three red shirts all at the same time. And a free kick is given.
Yeah, I've seen a few of these free kicks so far in this game that I've thought were a teeny bit soft. I know the Bromley players have been surprised how easily they've been penalised for challenging with Will Hatfield. And I wasn't really sure.
Great ball from Hurst down this right-hand side, finds Adam Smith. Aaron Tubman was completely unaware of where the ball was going, but Smith gets onto the end of it, gets the ball and pulls the crawl back across goal. And again, nobody there at the right time. But Guiseley continue in possession with Gavin Rothery by the corner flag, does well, turns away, brings it back down the line, links up with Danny Lowe. Now Lowe gets the cross in. Comes across as far as James Hurst. Hurst knocks it ahead of him. Gets it out to the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. The cross comes in. Adam Boyes looks to get his hand onto it. Rob Swain, the captain, well, he'd have got a 7.8, I reckon, there off the diving board with that one, as Adam Boyes rested a hand on him, but nothing to the extreme that Rob Swain just dived there.
Yeah, he would have lost style marks for the belly flop splash landing, wouldn't he? But
Have it.
yeah,
Reminds me of a John Smith's advert with Peter Kay in it, top bombing.
well, yeah. Also, there was the James Hurst shot about 10 minutes ago. That was that same. Do you remember that same advert where he just hoofs it when he gets the ball? He's calling for the ball. He just hoofs it out of the pitch as high up in the air as he can.
No nonsense, I believe, was the catchphrase with that advert.
Indeed, it's a great clearance. It's a shame he was hoping to shoot for goal though.
Now Prestige into Ali Fusini. Holland looks to get there. Lawler as well, though. Gets there ahead of him. Swain just nods the ball across to Udoji. Now Pierre-Joseph Dubois. Ball sent forward by Lee Minshall all the way out for a goal kick. The rain continues to fall.
I was going to say, extraordinary rain coming down now, Chris. When Colin texted me yesterday to ask if I was free to do this today, I said, well, I would quite like a seat out of the rain if the forecast is anything to go by. It turns out that this was a smart decision rather than my usual spot behind the goal.
So all of a sudden, this is more like a shelter for you rather than something you enjoy doing. It's just so I to keep dry.
Just so happens there's a microphone and maybe even half a dozen people listening to the words I say.
Not to mention the tea and a digestive at half-time if you're lucky.
Well, you know.
Throw-in taken by Guiseley on that far side, although a free kick is then quickly followed. Good crossfield ball, looking to Van Hurst, just a little bit too much on it though. It just bounces away and out for a throw-in for Bromley. So don't forget, get in touch on Twitter at Guiseley Radio. Is the handle you need to use to let us know your thoughts and views on this afternoon's game. To let us know your thoughts on the Wayne Brooksby situation with him going out on loan. On the plus side, of course, Anthony Dudley, his loan spell's been extended. Let us know your thoughts on that as well. At Guiseley Radio on Twitter is the easiest way to get in touch with us.
Well, those decisions have been made together, haven't they, Chris? You know, when they've decided to extend the loan of Dudley, having signed Smith as well, and knowing that they've got Hurst with Toulson to come back in at right back if they needed another right midfielder. As soon as they knew they could keep Dudley, that's when the decision's been made. That's why they coincide the way they do.
Now Smith again looks to send it down this right hand side though, giving something for Adam Boyce to chase up against Ben Chorley. Does well though, comes out with the ball, plays it to the edge of the box, lets it run across there to Anthony Dudley. He let it run across the back of him as the ball came into play for Will Hatfield. Hatfield was caught and went down. As you can probably hear from the shouts from the crowd, a free kick was wanted but wasn't given.
Well, of all the free kicks I haven't expected to see given so far in this game, Chris, that was one that looked absolutely nailed on the edge of the box as well. Would have been really good position for a free kick for Guiseley.
Ball forward from Bromley, goes through and bounces out for a goal kick. There's some very committed Bromley fans behind that goal to our left. There's probably 20 or so, maybe one or two more. I think one or two now have decided to give up and are heading for some form of undercover. But the green plastic ponchos are out, the kind of that you get at your theme parks before you go on the log flume. There's a handful of them over there. I didn't see Adi handing them out as people were coming in.
Not to Bromley fans anyway. No, you have to say if it's too wet even for the poncho wearer, then the rest have got no chance.
But to their credit, the majority of them are trying to stick it out.
Yeah. I hope it's a nice warm bus they've got going back.
I was just thinking it might be worth avoiding Coach G on the way home if they're all in that coach together. Adam Smith now looks to link up where we're going. Rather way the ball almost played through. Back to Smith. but it's been intercepted by Bromley, and they now look to come forward. Is Pierre-Joseph Dubois lifts the ball over to Holland. Holland nods it down, looking for Emmanuel. Rob Atkinson, Adam Lockwood rather, was the man to put it behind. There's a man who, for me, we haven't missed quite as much as I expected we would do after his injury. Jake Lawler's filled in relatively well, playing alongside Adam Lockwood at centre-back.
Yeah, although without playing badly, we have conceded a lot of goals in a couple of games, haven't we?
You looked the pairing looked good at Tranmere last week, though, it has to be said. I know we lost 2-1.
Yeah.
The corner now from Bromley, put in left-footed, met by a Bromley header of a near post from Joseph Dubois, but it's gone out via a deflection and behind for a goal kick.
Ollie Norburn just stinging a little bit from a challenge he received during that move, but he's back up on his feet. And as I say that, he's just crouching down again.
Back onto his haunches.
Yeah. Anyway, while we wait for that to get sorted out, the latest update is I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12. Enough for a football team and one sub, Bromley fans who are still behind Stephen Drench's goal.
I love that. That was like something out of like learning on Sesame Street there. Nick Keefe counts.
I'm wearing gloves, so it was hard to do it on my fingers. I had to do it out loud.
As Norburn now plays the ball through to Hatfield. He's put a great ball into Dudley. Good defensive covering from Emmanuel Adoji. Gets it behind for a corner. But a superb ball it was. A great idea as well.
A lovely pass that was. It shows how quickly a move can progress with a good attacking pass along the floor. Going to be really difficult to get a good delivery in here for Adam Smith with the corner.
Well, Gavin Rothery has gone short. Smith does go long though to get it into the area. The keeper came a long way off his line. The shot takes a deflection from Norburn. Absolutely smashed it. He drilled it from about 35 yards out. Took a deflection on its way through and smashed the underside of the crossbar before coming back out. Still not clear though for Bromley as the shot comes in this time from James Hurst. What a passage of play that was.
Well, hammering shots one after another. Every Guiseley player queuing up on the edge of the area to have a go at goal. Charged down well by Bromley. Good defending. Very nearly a goal, as you say, as it hit the apex between crossbar and far post of Kettings' goal and came out.
The effort though from Norburn, what a hit.
Yes, no, he really struck it, and an inch inside, and that would have been bouncing down inside the goal rather than away from it.
Now Bromley looking to come forward on the attack. They've got Jack Holland, who was the man that's come forward and has won his side of throw-in deep inside the Guiseley half.
Yeah, concentrating for Guiseley to do here. Rush of blood from all of those opportunities a moment ago, and suddenly they're penned back inside their own area. Only Adam Boy's further forward than the edge of the 18-yard box.
39 minutes gone still. Guiseley 0, Bromley 0, but it's been a very entertaining game. This first 39 minutes, to say it's 0-0, which with the weather the way it is, makes it a much, much better afternoon than it would have been if we were sat here with a drab 0-0 so far, as Lawler gets the ball clear. Somewhere, sends it back forward again. The rain perhaps now starting to have a...
Well, I just watched Adam Lockwood's clearance stop in the air and turn around.
The ball goes all the way through, bounces through, looking for a... well, I say looking for, I use that term loosely. There was just too much on the pass, really, and Moses Emmanuel nearly capitalised on that.
Well, that ball, that, as I say, from Lockwood was looking to come down to the feet of Boys and ended up bouncing first about 20 yards short of him.
Of course, it's going to be interesting for the second half because Guiseley have adapted relatively well to playing into the wind for the most part in this half. They're going to have to adapt to playing with the wind behind them in the second, should it continue through half-time.
I don't think they'll mind too much having it out of their faces, at least. On the backs of their heads instead. That's hard. It takes a lot of concentration.
Now the ball played forward from Prestage back to Tunworth. Although the ball is out for a throw-in in Guiseley's favour, which Rothery was going to take. He's left it to James Hurst. He goes short, finds Smith. Gets away from his man well there. Does Adam Smith. Now pulls the ball back to Hurst. Hurst, high cross towards the back post. Too much on it. Wind possibly takes it away as it goes out on that far side for a throw. It looked initially like it was going to be a decent cross in, but then as it got more in towards the box, it just seems to go further and further away.
Speaking of going away, there's a few people around us making the decision to make an early move for a half-time cup of tea.
You don't want to be stood in a queue in this weather.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You go out and get it over and done with, get your rain in. Don't stand there and spend the whole of half-time queuing in it. We're down to, I think, about 6 behind Drench's goal, maybe 7 now.
What an apt name for a keeper stood in front of those 6 people. Drench.
Oh, it's a while since I've done the Drench puns. There's always a potential torrent of them that can come flooding out at any point where commentary gets really slow.
Flooding out. You didn't even mean that one, did you? You fully meant that, didn't you? Flooding out.
Ask a stupid question. Don't be a drip, Chris.
Guiseley have got themselves a free kick. 10 yards or so away from the edge of the centre circle. Very much on the left as the free kick goes in. Guys haven't made much of it. The shot comes in, though, from distance from Gavin Rothery, straight into the hands of the goalkeeper, Chris Kettings. And we've got 2.5 minutes plus any added time at the end of this first half. I can't imagine there'll be much. Frankly, I think if I was the referee at this stage, I wouldn't give anything. I want to get back in that changing room as quick as you can.
No, they'll be streaming off the pitch as soon as they possibly can, won't they?
Well, you're stuck with the water puns.
You asked.
Surely you can't keep this up for much longer. Although actually...
Do you need to make that challenge? Because it could have already finished if you didn't keep provoking me.
Again, the rain getting a little bit worse. As Guiseley back in possession now. Inside the Guiseley half. Now Lockwood sends it forward. Doesn't find a white shirt. Instead just the head of the big unit in the centre of midfield in Lee Minshall for Bromley. Smith's clearance again only finds Minshall. And you'll be able to perhaps hear the rain on the top of the stand.
I think the last time I saw conditions like this was in the reign of in the reign of Stephen Kittrick, and it was a Droylsden game where we came from 3-0 down, I think, to win 4-3. And that was the last time I saw such horrendous weather at Nethermoor.
I was going to say Macclesfield was a very wet night this season on a Tuesday night.
I think it deserves something for the homophone there, rain of
I'm giving you nothing, mate. You can have an extra biscuit at half-time.
Thank you.
Zanley, if you've seen his touch, just gets away from him completely there. And Guiseley now look to come forward, but the ball seems to stop in front of Oliver Norburn whilst he was mid-flight. Guiseley continue in possession, though. Here's Hatfield. Has to turn away. He's being harried and pressed by Reece Prestige. Does well, though, Hatfield. Now Rothery. Finds Hurst. Smith in acres of space on this right-hand side. He does pick out Smith. The cross comes in. Headed away by Bromley. Not cleared well, though. And even on the second attempt, it's been picked up by Guiseley pretty well. Norburn goes for goal. Oliver Norburn! What a hit! All of 35 yards out. He had the sighter earlier. That is an absolutely stunning strike by Oliver Norburn. Right-footed, 35 yards out. He hit it, and my God, did it stay hit. Straight into the top left corner. Chris Kettings, absolutely no chance in the Bromley goal. What an absolute stunner. Well, Guiseley's goal of the season so far, without a doubt, Nick.
I think we've just seen one of the all-time great Nethermoor goals here in this old ground, playing in the most appalling weather with a sea of bodies in front of him, between him and the goal. Playing into the wind, he has hammered that home from fully 35 or 40 yards out. Kettings never looked like getting close to it, looked like he had no idea where the flight of the ball was going as it moved away from him and into the very top corner. What a brilliant, brilliant goal. I was getting ready, as I saw him winding up to take that shot, Chris, I was getting ready to criticise him at the end of what had been a really nice move for Guiseley for taking a lazy, speculative shot when there were good passing options on. It looked like the move was beginning to break down, but he had options out to left and right wide. But he knew where he wanted that to go. And in fairness to him, that was a heck of a shot.
Well, he had a couple of half efforts similar to that against Eastleigh in his debut. As Bromley looked to get it into the Guiseley area. Now comes out as far as Gavin Rothery, who's just running headfirst into pretty much horizontal rain. Plays it back now to Daniel Lowe. He sends it forward looking to find Adam Boys. And the referee has blown the half-time whistle here at Nethermore. And it's an excellent half-time mood around Nethermore.
Sorry, Chris, to interrupt you. I called it. They are actually running off the pitch. Have you ever seen players running off the pitch at half-time? That's how bad the conditions are out here.
It is absolutely appalling.
I'm sorry, Chris. Do your wrap up?
No, it's absolutely fine, Nick, because we don't see that often. But as it is, what we've seen is, for me, without a doubt, Guiseley's goal of the season so far, and possibly one of the goals of the season for past years. It reminded me, it was further out than in honesty, so it was better than, but it was similar to Warren Payton's free kick against Boston in the first leg of the playoffs that first season.
That's an excellent callback.
He smashed it, and it stayed rising. It was that kind of effort from, as I say, probably about 5 or 10 yards further out, and that was a hell of a free kick.
No, it was a spectacular shot, wasn't it? And so many things need to come together, and it's why they're rare, and it's why they're special when you see them. There's so many things need to come together to see a goal like that, because there were, all puns aside, so many players of both teams ahead of him. In fact, he was one of the deepest Guiseley players on the pitch at that point because of the move that had been going on around previously. He dropped deep, almost to the edge of the centre circle, to sort of sweep up, which was why he was able to run onto it and hit it with the power that he did. But to travel through without hitting anybody,
that's impressive.
The statistics are, that's why you see so many shots charged down. Of course you do. So to travel through all of those and be on target and beat the keeper into a headwind that's been slowing down every clearance that Drench and the centre halves have been making throughout the game. Very, very special. And a nice moment to see him head straight over to Mark Bauer in the dugout there, who was a manager who's signed him up as a free agent partway into a season to give him a chance to reignite his football career. Young Oliver Norburn, and what a good way to open his account for his new club.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him have that effort, midway through the first half, didn't we? And that was an effort that hit the crossbar, and you thought, oh, it's going to be one of those days for him. But then he pulled that out, and it was absolutely spectacular. So, half-time here at Nethermore Park. It is Guiseley 1, Bromley 0 through an absolute screamer. We'll shortly hear from Mark Bauer from his post-match interview for last week, whilst me and Nick try and get ourselves a quick brew and attempt to warm up, because we've really struggled to do that, really, haven't we? The game was the only thing that's pretty much kept us warm, I think, Nick.
Well, it's been an entertaining game so far. We were saying it's been better than a 0-0 sort of a match, and so in fairness, quite happy to see us go in a goal ahead. But there's been good play by both sides. Obviously, seen the visitors doing exactly what you'd expect them to, playing on the break, trying to use the pace of Moses Emmanuel on the break, and Guiseley with the majority of the possession, working the crosses in from the right and using the trickery of Dudley on the left. But it came from the defensive midfielder of all people. Hey, second half.
And on this final note, how often do you see a half-time with absolutely no substitutes out there warming up? Instead, the Guiseley subs are doing a bit of a half-time warm-up in the dugout. I've just seen Liam Dickinson kicking the ball against the side of the dugout whilst he's in it.
They look like a bunch of vagrants in a bus shelter, mate.
Right, well, half-time here. Guiseley 1, Bromley 0. That Oliver Norburn stunner, the difference. Let's hear, though, from Mark Bauer. This is his post-match interview after the 2-1 defeat at Tranmere last Saturday.
Joined now by Mark Bauer after the 2-1 defeat at Tranmere Rovers. Mark, heartbreaking last moments of that game with the penalty and 2-1. You must have thought we'd just about done enough to get that hard-earned point this afternoon.
I thought, yeah, you never think it's done until, he blows his whistle. Yeah, and, we just got caught with one ball dropped in midfield there, lad Nick, so it gets hooked on and he's in, and then, the Drenchy gives the referee a decision to make, and with his performance all afternoon, you knew the decision he was going to make, so bitterly disappointing in the end, because I thought, they had their spell just before half-time where they were putting us under pressure, came out at the start of the second half and put us under pressure again, and had a couple of chances, but I thought we sort of got through that, and then as the longer it went on, we actually looked more comfortable, and they were getting a little bit desperate. Drenchy were coming and catching things. We were, comfortably clearing things up. They didn't really have much of a chance in the last 20-25 minutes, and you just felt that we were going to see it through. And in fact, we probably looked a little bit more dangerous on the counter attack ourselves. But yeah, cruel right at the end. Bitterly disappointing for everyone. Maybe a few tired legs in there, a few shortened games recently. Just catches up with you right at the end against a side like this. But no, again, they gave everything they had for us, and just disappointing that we can't, don't come away with anything.
As much as the results are disappointment, the character of the team today must be a positive here. Yeah,
we were, defended. Once we'd sort of weathered that storm at the start of the second half, winning headers, tackles, tracking runners, we were defended it really well, and saw it, felt we were seeing it out pretty comfortable, and then just a bit of a hopeful one over the top catches us out. But we know the lads will give everything they've got for us, and we know coming to places like this we're up against it. So yeah, that's just what we need to see week in, week out. If we have that against some of the lesser teams, then we'll be able to get some results.
Great goal in the first half from Danny Boschel that gave us a lead.
Yeah, I thought we started the game well. We knew what we wanted to do, try and force them back and get Gav on the ball a little bit. And we managed to get Gav on it, puts a cross in, cleared, and Bosch took it really well. Great goal. Could have had one before that as well with Anthony Dudley through. A couple of other openings where we got running at their back four. Final ball could have just been better. We could have been a couple in front before they really had a chance. They're always going to have a spell of pressure, and we just couldn't manage to see it through before half time. Absolutely diabolical decisions for the two corners that were given that led to that goal. It just, when we turned up at the ground and we saw the referee, it was a referee that we had at Wrexham a few weeks ago, and I can't possibly say what the lads said when they found out about that, and it was true to form, to be fair. I have no arguments with the penalty, he's got to give the penalty, but everything else today, it certainly did feel like big club, little club out there. So disappointed with that. You need all the help you can get when you come into a place like this, and if teams just gifted corners that they're going to throw in the box against you, then we're going to fight. We'll end up conceding goals. So disappointed from that point of view. Thought we'd seen it through to get a point, and just a real sucker punch at the end.
Great support again from the travelling supporters there today.
Brilliant support, yeah. They've come in great numbers. First time that the club have been here, I believe, and just feel as much for them as we feel. That we couldn't send them home with something to cheer, but I think pretty much everyone stayed and clapped the lads off at the end, and that's really appreciated by all the players. We've had 3 tough games. Obviously the Cheltenham, Eastleigh and Tranmere games. I think those 3 teams will finish in the top 5. It's 2 of them away from home. It's been a tough run. Disappointed we've not been able to get any points out of it, but there's been plenty of positives to take from the performances, despite the defeats. But yes, a few lessons in sort of being ruthless have been taught as well. So look forward to next week, another clean week where we can do a bit of work, and may have 1 or 2 players back into the squad as well. So look forward to next week.
Yeah, probably be a bit of an unknown quantity for us, won't they?
To an extent, yeah. Someone we've not played before, but we've done our homework, we've had them watched, and we'll going there knowing what to expect from them. They've come up and done really well, top half of the league and been pushing towards or in that top 5 at times. So they're going to be a real tough test for us, and we can't go into the game thinking because we've played 3 of the really fancied sides and now we've got Bromley that it's going to be any different. It'll be just as tough, and if not tougher. But we know that from what we've shown in the last few games, the Welling and Barrow games before it, we look like we can create chances and score a few goals. So we've got to take that into the game and try and get back on track, try and break this little run that we've got going, and get some points on board again.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark, just get a couple of extra comments. Desperately unlucky there, Guiseley. Did you think you'd done enough to take a point? Yeah. I'm joined by Danny Hall after Guiseley's 4-1 home defeat against Eastleigh. Danny, first things first, can you try and sum up the performance and the result for me?
Strange one, really. 4-1's, you say it's harsh. I mean, they looked the stronger team. Probably second half they were decent, but I think first half we're miles a better team. We've got to take our chances, and then they've offered absolutely nothing until the first goal, and it's as simple as someone's got to track the man, he's got to tap in from 4 or 5 yards, and that it gives them a massive lift. They go on, grab a second, and then from absolutely dominating a game, looking miles the better team, we're 2 down, and it's demoralising it. And then we managed to get one back, and from there it looks like we're going to go on and do well again in the game. And we've come in at half time because we got the goal back, thinking there's every chance for us there second half, but it's not quite happened for us, has it?
How many times have we said this season about taking chances?
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. A lot of lads are saying it's the same old kind of thing. So it's not all about taking chances. I mean, it's the sloppy goals as well. I mean, it's demoralising when you turn around and see someone 4 or 5 yards out with can't really miss. It kills it a bit, but we've got to improve, haven't we? We know that, and it's certainly there. It's promising enough the first half. We can certainly take positives out of it, but it's just we need to take them out, don't we?
For the second half, was it just a case of Eastleigh giving us a bit of a crash course in game management as they just sold the game out? Made it
I don't think we looked as threatening as we did in the first half. Good value for the win second half, to be fair to them.
And finally, for you personally, your first league start of the season, how do you feel after 90 minutes?
Well, yeah, it's mixed emotions. Obviously, it's great to be back playing, but it's leading November the 14th, and it's frustrating that it's my first game at this stage. So that's the overriding thing. After that, it's just frustration. But obviously, it's good to get back playing. So we'll see what happens from here.
And onwards to Tranmere next Saturday.
Aye.
Probably the biggest club that we'll go to this season. One of the biggest grounds we'll go to. How are the lads feeling ahead of that trip?
Well, it's not really been mentioned at the moment. The lads are just a bit down at the moment. But obviously, when in training, that will be up for that. It's a good game, innit? It's great for us Manchester lads. It's a home game for us, so we're happy with that. But it's like you said, it's a good stadium. It's a proper setup, isn't it? It's been in a really big club before, hasn't it? So it's always good to go to places like that. You're going to enjoy yourself more, aren't you? So hopefully we can do something there. And
with Tranmere being a little bit indifferent, to say the least, this season, does that give you that extra bit of hope that we can go away to Prenton Park and get something? Well,
certainly. They've not stormed it like everyone said they would. Everyone thought they would, maybe. So there's every chance. I mean, Eastleigh, they're up there, and God, for the first half, we're miles a better team. So there's no reason we can't go anywhere and get a result. So we've just got to start taking our chances and cut the silly errors out, like they say. But we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, we always thought that with the players that were coming into the side, fatigue might be a bit of an impact later on, and that proved to be. And I think the third goal, the lads have had a look at it in the office. It looks 2 yards offside, and then obviously the fourth one in injury time just puts a bit of an unfair gloss on it. Thought for large spells we were decent, especially in the first half. Thought we started really well, some good openings, got in some good areas, crosses going across the box, then just got done on us. Counter attack really with the first goal, got to defend that much better. And then the second goal from a set piece again, taking your 2 centre halves out of the side, and we're missing a lot of presence there. Set pieces were always something that we were concerned about today, and unfortunately they managed to score from one. But after that, got back into the game with a goal, and then had a glorious chance just before half time to get it to 2-2. If we could have gone in at 2-2, who knows? And then, like I said, they got the third one, which we're led to believe it was offside. And even then, Wayne's had a really good chance one-on-one with the keeper. If he could have gone 3-2 at them, made it interesting last 10 minutes. So it's these fine margins, especially when you're against the bigger teams. I think it was exactly like that with Forest Green a few weeks ago, where we were on top first 20 minutes, but they've broken away and shown their real quality and scored. And that's the difference, I think, between the sides at the top of the league and the rest of us, really. They take their chances more when they're on top, and they've certainly done that today. And we've not managed to do it on enough occasions. Obviously not happy when we're conceding goals like we have done. It's something that we'll have to sort out. But again, I thought everyone gave everything they had. Lads that have not played for a long time coming in and playing 90 minutes was, testament to their efforts, and especially in the conditions. But we've got to move on. Got to look forward. Clean week, which we probably need. We've played so many games, such a short space of time. Could do that, fresh week just to freshen everyone up and look to another massive game next weekend.
We've touched on it there, but once again,
we've got to ride our luck at times, but we've got to make sure that when we're on top, we take more of the chances than we did today. Because really, with the chances created, we could have had 3 goals ourselves at least.
And as you say, welcome back to Nethermore Park, where here at half-time, the score is Guiseley 1, Bromley 0. Oliver Norburn with an absolute stunner from all of 35 yards out, just a minute or so before half-time. Excuse me, the 2 sets of players are back out in front of us. There's Nick Keefe readjusts his gloves and finishes his half-time biscuit, which we said he'd allow him an extra one. So, we're not going to deprive him of an extra biscuit. I think he deserved it in the first half. I'm fairly sure a few of you might disagree, but,
I'm not sure I did either.
So, we are just about ready to get back underway for the second half. It will be Bromley to get us back underway, shooting from left to right in their all-red away kit, shooting towards the bowling club, the bowling green end. Guiseley from right to left towards the railway end of the ground here at Nethermore. And after what was a relatively entertaining first half with awful weather conditions, as the ball comes across from Bromley, comes out as far as Fusini. Dudley gets a foot and clears that away. Now the ball back with down low. The weather, well, you'd hardly know that it was that bad in the first half. Nick?
Oh, it's cleared up beautifully, hasn't it? The wind's dropped, the rain stopped, and with the floodlights out, it suddenly looks almost sunny out there.
Don't go that far.
In the darkness.
Good little ball from Adam Boyes, finds Dudley on this left-hand side now. He gets it in field, back to Boyes. Now with Adam Smith. Smith goes for goal, just wide of the upright. It wasn't a particularly powerful effort at all. Didn't have any pace on it really, but it almost crept inside that near post.
I think as much as anything, it's about Smith showing that he's willing to use his left foot, as we discussed in the first half. Obviously very predominantly a right-footed player, but he might get 1 or 2 opportunities to go outside if he has a couple of dangerous-looking efforts like that with his left.
Bromley now look to clear it downfield. Good sign challenge though from Adam Boyes, puts it out for a throw deep inside the Bromley half. As I say, it's completely clear now. Not even a hint of drizzle in the air.
But only the splashing water as the ball and as the players' feet hit the turf gives away how bad the conditions were until half-time.
Ball low cross in from Bromley, met by Stephen Drench. Just under 2 minutes into this first half. Guiseley 1, Bromley 0. Oliver Norburn with an absolute stunner from a long range as Stephen Drench's clearance downfield bounces all the way through. I think there is still a little bit of a breeze. Again, not as bad as it was in the first half, but it may still be there. As the ball sent forward by Bromley, Drench comes out to the edge of his area and collects that easily.
And Bromley know they've got to get back into this game as quickly as they possibly can. They don't want to be behind for any length of time. They'll be coming out all guns blazing at the start of this second half, I think.
Lockwood gets his head onto it, finds Lawler. He plays it out to James Hurst. Hurst sends it downfield. It's a good header though from Ben Chorley. Now the ball at the feet of the captain Rob Swain for Bromley.
Good challenge there between Jake Lawler and his man on the edge of the area. Not been much of a physical challenge at the moment. The most of the hard work for the centre backs for Guiseley has been caused by the small, quicker striker Emmanuel.
Yeah, just trying to basically keep an eye on him, basically, because that's the hardest thing to do. He's got some good movement, and he's always looking to play off the shoulder of the last defender. Which, well, let's be honest, when you've got somebody of Adam Lockwood's experience but lack of pace, having someone like Moses Emmanuel on the shoulder of him could cause absolute chaos. But so far, he's marshalled him relatively well.
Well, what Emmanuel has is the benefit of freedom to move between positions, and so he can change who he's playing up against. As you say, it's a matter of concentration and good communication and awareness between the Guiseley defenders. It only takes one significant mistake, doesn't it? And that's why he'll keep plugging away at that all afternoon as Guiseley come forward.
Well, this is the thing. He is the league's top goal scorer for a reason. As the ball is now in Guiseley possession. As Gavin Rothery has it down by this near corner flag. Plays it back to Daniel Lowe. Lowe gets a good cross in. A little bit deep, though. And in the end, it goes behind. I'd like to say I try and blame the wind on that one, possibly taking it behind, but I don't think it was. I think it was just a cross that was drifting out of play.
Well, there'll be a little bit of getting used to the change, because in the first half, every cross like that would have come back at a player rather than continuing on. So now they go ahead a little bit more.
Ball downfield now from Bromley, met by the head of Adam Lockwood. Now Smith, just inside the Bromley half, turns inside the centre circle, finds Rothery, whose shirt seems absolutely drenched. No, we're not going down that route again.
I hope you're not trying to pass that one off as a pun.
No, not at all. It genuinely does look absolutely soaked and filthy. As Gavin Rothery looks to grace clear, but he's offside. Just timed his run badly. So, as I say, we saw, Nick, a very entertaining first half. What do you expect that Mark will have said to the lads at half-time, bearing in mind the change, really, in the weather conditions for one?
Well, of course, neither team in a position to make a substitution, because neither set of subs would brave the conditions to actually warm up at half-time. So he'll be asking for more of the same, but he'll have reminded them that having taken the lead, Bromley will come out and try to get an early goal in the second half. And so they need to not commit too many bodies forward just for the first 5 or 10 minutes while they wait and see what Bromley want to come at them with, if there's any change of tactic from them.
Here's Pierre-Joseph Dubois, sends the ball in, met by the head of Jack Holland, but that's easy for Stephen Drench to gather up ahead of Emmanuel, who was lurking but wasn't particularly close to it. As Drench now sends it downfield, Adam Boyes gets beyond the defender looking for the missed header. Guiseley pick up possession as the header was met, and Will Hatfield fancies a crack at what Oliver Norburn did earlier and gets it horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And the referee's just having a little bit of a chat with Adam Lockwood or something there. Made an effort to run over and have a word with him. Colin's trying to signal to me what's happening, but unfortunately I don't speak Kermit the Frog sign language. I'll take a headphone off and listen in a second.
One thing that we now do know is that the charades game in the Robertson Christmas household will not be won by Colin. The ball played down that left-hand side by Guiseley. Kettings comes out and just puts that straight over onto the cricket pitch. Whilst you're speaking to Colin, Nick, why don't you try and give him a few tips on charades, because he's not going to win in the Robertson household this Christmas.
Well, it turns out he was trying to say that the referee was telling Adam Lockwood just to put a sock in it, basically.
Can think of hand gestures for that. Lockwood now gets head onto it, sends it forward, picked up by Lee Minshall in the centre of the park. Guiseley hook it forward again.
In answer to your previous question, Chris, from ages ago, one of the things Guiseley will hopefully realise they can try in this second half is they can try a few more long passes. One of the things that they will have to their advantage is that all of those clearances that were sitting in the air and then coming back towards them in the first half, now they don't have that limitation. Of course, that also means they've got to get used to the fact that the flight of the ball is slightly different, and a bit of confusion at the back has led to a corner conceded.
Absolutely. Jake Lawler trying to clear it away, just ricochets off Hurst out for a corner. The cross comes in, met by a Bromley header and tipped over, or it appeared to be tipped over by Stephen Drench. I think it may have clipped the top of the crossbar actually, rather than touched by Drench then. But
well, either that or that Drench actually only touched it when it had already gone over the top of the bar. He did jump well for it actually there, Drench. His hand was well above the level of the bar, so I suppose he could have, if he did make contact with it. Either way, neither team protesting about the goal kick.
The referee, Mr. Wrigglesworth, I think we've seen him quite a few times actually at Nethermore this season. It certainly seems so. Maybe he's just got one of those names that's hard to forget, to be honest.
And yet you always put an extra R in it.
Oh, is it Wigglesworth? Fair enough. Either way, Gavin Rothery now looks to come forward, plays a good ball into Anthony Dudley. The ball comes back for Boys. Takes a deflection its way through, held by Chris Kettings, but a good link-up play there as guys who were looking to come forward.
Oh, beautiful.
It almost broke nicely there, Nick, didn't it?
Beautiful flowing passing move. Ball moving at almost an unaltered speed, and the players being in just the right places at the right times to receive the passes that were being made.
Well, the ball went forward from Bromley, and Jack Holland went up in the air. As he came down, he lost his footing completely, just completely wiped out Adam Lockwood with him as he fell. So a free kick has been given. I think it's a little bit unfortunate, to be honest, because he just seemed to lose his footing altogether rather than anything deliberate. But a free kick's been given. Stephen Drench is less than 10 yards outside the centre circle to take this free kick. Delivers it well over to his left-hand side, though. Nobody in a white shirt to get on the end of it, as the ball is now played over to that right-hand side now with Adam Smith. Hurst comes forward in support, but still Smith looks to turn and trick defenders as the cross comes in. Kettings keeps his eyes on it and catches that well.
And repeatedly being shown inside by Tunwa, as he has been as much as possible by the left back throughout the game.
Well, we saw Adam Smith, didn't we, at Wrexham, playing for Wrexham against Guiseley earlier in the season. And on that occasion, Danny Lowe, who was the left back on the day, didn't force him inside really for the duration of the match.
Well, the truth was he couldn't catch up with him to turn him inside.
And on that occasion, we saw Adam Smith consistently getting out onto that touchline and causing some real problems as well. And that's the one thing that we haven't been able to see him do in this game consistently, is to get out onto that right-hand side, because, to be fair to Tunwa, he's not doing a bad job of marshalling there. As the ball now comes to Moses Emmanuel, he looks to play it back across. And Jack Holland was in there, but Stephen Drench does well. Gets in ahead of the onrushing Bromley number 6. But just touching back on Smith, as I say, we've seen him once or twice when he's had the space to get out there. He's done well. There's a great ball forward from Stephen Drench. Finds Boys. Boys' touch is a poor one, though. He just didn't quite have the right control there, because if he did, he'd have had a really good effort on goal. A really good chance to get a good effort on goal. I'm just going to give up on making my Adam Smith point, by the way.
No, he's good with his right foot at making crosses from the byline, yes. And teams will try and stop him doing that. But it does create opportunities.
Good ball out to Gavin Rothery on the left-hand side. Down low, comes up in support, pulls it across, deflected. Back up towards Boys. Boys' touch again isn't there. He kind of half-heartedly decided against making a touch there. Adam Smith does well. Does very well, in fact, to win the ball and get away from the Bromley man on that far side. It was Lee Minshall that he was trying to get away from as the cross comes in from Smith. And that one, on this occasion, straight into the hands of the keeper.
What I was going to say was that anytime a team knows that a player's got good pace and good delivery, they'll just stand a little bit deeper playing against them, make sure there's an extra man across covering. And it does make a little bit more space for the likes of Will Hatfield and Gavin Rothery, who like to work in those gaps between lines. So the fact that Smith can't get down to make those crosses from very, very far advanced positions doesn't necessarily mean that he's not being effective.
Now the ball over on that left-hand side now with Tunworth. Played down, looking for Reece Prestige, but the ball goes out for a throw. It was too long for Prestige to catch or keep in play. So it's going to be a Guiseley throw-in. Roughly level with the edge of the 18-yard box inside the Guiseley half, over on that far side in front of the covered terracing. Now Boys does well, goes to ground, keeps possession for Guiseley as Rothery plays it across to Danny Lowe down its left-hand side. Dudley now looks to get in behind Emmanuel Udoji. Links up well with Lowe, who made the overlapping run. The cross comes in, and the defensive header from the captain, Rob Swain, which was meant to go away. He was stooping for it, to say the least. Instead of going away, goes behind.
Well, it's hard to not take your eye off the ball when your nose is an inch from the ground. So, lovely interplay between Danny Lowe and Anthony Dudley on the left wing. And a good opportunity for Guiseley to get the big men in the box from this set piece.
Here is Adam Smith with the delivery. Up towards the back post. Goalkeeper looks to get one hand on it. And the referee, he's given a free kick.
Unbelievable.
For a foul on Kettings. Kettings made, again, the most half-hearted attempt really to try and get anything on that, really. One hand in the air.
Do you not, as a coach, say to one of your tall players, go and stand in front of the keeper and don't let him run through you to get to the ball?
Yes.
That's all.
I do that on Football Manager.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Jake Lawler, and all he was doing was taking up a position, and Kettings didn't manage to run through him, so he had to reach for the ball, and the referee's obviously seen that as a foul.
Great sliding challenge in from Gavin Rothery. Gets possession for Guiseley in the centre of the park. It's broken down this right-hand side. The cross comes in, and again it was a good cross, a little bit too high, but was it in the right area?
Oh, it was, and we've seen a few of those very dangerous crosses so far in this game. Guys, they just need somebody to get onto the end and put them away. A second goal would really put the home team in the driving seat here.
Moses Emmanuel capitalises on a poor touch from Lockwood. Gets it to the right-hand side of the 18-yard box. Up against Lockwood still. Lockwood needs to stay strong. Can't afford to go to ground and risk bringing him down. Danny Lowe does well. Comes back and supports him and dispossesses Emmanuel very, very well. Good professional defending there from Guiseley. As, by my reckoning, we tick just about onto the hour mark. Still Guiseley 1, Bromley 0 here on Guiseley AFC Radio.
Yeah, they're not quite a one-man team, are they? Because Jack Holland is a big, dangerous-looking player, but Emmanuel does seem to be at the centre of everything Bromley try and create, and you can see that he just needs one to go his way. But it has been generally pretty well defended by Guiseley so far.
Well, they've got a couple of... if you've got your cliche bingo cards ready, they've got a couple of big units, because you look at Jack Holland, who is playing alongside Moses Emmanuel, and you've got Lee Minchell as well in the centre of the park, as we see the first change for Bromley. And it's Alex Wall, the number 17, who is coming on and replacing Emmanuel Udoji. So it's the right back that's going off, and Alex Wall that's coming on. I'll try and watch carefully to see where he comes on at, but he seems to be taking up a forward position.
It actually looks like Jack Holland's gone to right back at the moment.
Here is Gavin Rothery now in the centre of the park. Plays a good ball into the feet of Danny Lowe. He's got a couple of red shirts ahead of him. One of those is Pierre-Joseph Dubois. The ball goes out of play. Out of play apparently, as Rothery keeps it in, or pulls it back into play. And here's Danny Lowe now, up against Holland, playing it right back. Good link-up play with Rothery. Cross comes in from Lowe, over here beyond the back post, and nobody there. And it's cleared away by Bromley, up to Alex Wall, and again, it's another big unit coming on. You've got Wall and Minchell pressing forward basically in support of the little man. Moses Emmanuel, the league's top goal scorer, as the cross now comes in from Holland up towards Emmanuel, but Lawler is there. Breaks now to Pierre-Joseph Dubois. Challenge comes in from a Guiseley man And the Lions are back in possession. Now, Hatfield.
I wonder whether Mark might be tempted to have a think about Liam Dickinson for the last part of this game. These guys, they've had these opportunities and good crosses and have just struggled a little bit with the cutting edge. Adam Boyes has had a fairly quiet afternoon, really.
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement with you there. As Guiseley, really good as attacking position, go begging. If you've seen, he looks to get the ball forward. It hits Adam Lockwood, almost ricocheted into the path of Wall, the substitute, but Guiseley get possession back. And now Hatfield up against Ucini. Challenge comes in from the Bromley man, but Guiseley do well, retain possession. Now Smith. Inside to Hatfield, links up with Norburn. Return pass isn't the best from Hatfield, but they have recovered. Don't particularly think the moans and groans then were justified.
No, it's just important for Guiseley to hold on to the ball at the moment. It looks like may even, it almost looks a little bit like a back three at the moment that Bromley are playing. Guiseley just adjusting to
Great
it.
play from Adam Boyes as he plays a lovely pass in field to Rothery. Now Smith. Smith goes left-footed, looks to curl it, forces a great save from Chris Kettings. He did really, really well there, did Adam Smith, on that left foot. And he looked to curl it towards the top corner, and that had Kettings scrambling. And he had to make the save and get a touch on it to tip it behind. A really good effort from Adam Smith on his left.
It was, and it was a very photo-friendly save by Chris Kettings as well. Lovely save.
So a corner now for Guiseley, which will be taken by Adam Smith. Right-footed again, it's too deep on this occasion. Nobody was there to mark him. And Kettings dropped it. The cross came in and nobody was marking Kettings on that occasion. He had what should have been an easy catch, but he got something on it and dropped it. And the referee is given, with the aid of his assist on that far side, another corner, Nick.
Well, he got two hands to it, not under any pressure, as you say, and just fumbled it. Another corner for Smith.
Yep, Smith delivers this one up towards the back post, over the top of everyone. Great work though from Anthony Dudley, although he's just played that straight into the path of Rob Swain, the number 5, and that's absolutely staggering.
I'm not having that at all, I'm afraid. I'm not having that at all. One of the biggest players on the pitch just crumpled like a deck of cards under a non-challenge from one of the smallest.
Young Anthony Dudley, 19 years of age, who, let's be honest, is in no way any form of a match physicality-wise for Rob Swain.
No, Swain's he's a big, strong man with his tough guy tattoos. And
you wanted to say big unit.
Rolling around. Unbelievable. Colin just showing me a few goal flashes. Boreham Wood are 1-0 up against Tranmere.
Here's Rothery. Switches the ball across to Adam Smith. The latest we heard at half-time, by the way, was that Halifax were 3-1 up at home to Dover.
Yeah, and the reason we're not bringing some more goal updates is because we're wearing gloves, and none of us have those kind of smartphone-friendly gloves, so we can't actually use our phones.
This is non-technological technical difficulties then, in other words.
Yeah.
Now, Minshall looks to drive forward. It's a good ball into feet of Fusini. He went for the back heel Jean-Pierre I can't remember his name. Pierre-Joseph Dubois, I was trying to say, went for goal, looked to lift it over Drench, but just lifts it wide of the upright. Really good move. Great back heel from Moses Emmanuel it was. And there was Pierre-Joseph Dubois to lift it over.
Well, and after that goal flash a few moments ago has been corrected anyway. It's still 0-0, Boreham Wood and Tranmere.
The one score we managed to see and read out
the one I managed
wasn't
to
a score.
actually read off of Colin's phone screen from the row in front. I'm going to take a glove off and see if anyone's talking to us on Twitter. I highly doubt it, given the standard.
Now Bromley, strong challenge from Alex Wall, the substitute. Free kick goes in Guiseley's favour. I don't think we're going to see the red that some people are chanting for. I doubt we'll see the yellow, in honesty.
Yeah, that's a little bit optimistic.
But quickly, going back to what you were saying a few minutes ago as regards Liam Dickinson. For me, I think that would be a good substitution for Mark Bauer to make at this stage, because Adam Boyes, he's had a couple of half chances, but very, very half chances.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of crosses just come across goal, and some of them have been head height for a man slightly taller than Adam is. Some of them have just been half a yard ahead of him. It's hard to know whether you bring on someone quicker to get there sooner or someone taller. I don't know.
Free kick now for Guiseley, taken by Drench, goes all the way out of play. But as you say, someone like Liam Dickinson, if he was to come on, he'd have to be told to stay up front. Because the one thing Liam Dickinson does do well, to be fair, is he puts himself across the park and looks to get others into play and hold the ball up. But in this situation, we'd need him to stay in that central channel, looking to get in the box at every opportunity.
Yeah, and you need him knocking it down into the path of a Rothery or a Dudley kind of coming
or
on.
a Norburn. As Emmanuel looks to play a good ball through to the feet of Reece Prestige, but Drench is aware of the danger. Comes out, goes to ground and smothers it.
He's been good coming off his line in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Drench, but dangerous times.
Now Boyes sends it back to Rothery. Boyes was caught, but play continues. Goes out on that right-hand side, finds Smith. Can you imagine that? A knockdown from Liam Dickinson into the path of Norburn to smash it. That I would like to see.
I think Dicko would rather knock it down into his own path.
Here's Dudley now, plays the ball through to Adam Boyes. Boyes one-on-one with the keeper, strikes it straight at it. Follow-up shot from Danny Lowe. Had to do a double take then. It was Danny Lowe with the follow-up shot, forces a save, which deflects away off the goalkeeper's gloves.
Excellent goalkeeping from Kettings. Boyes got the opportunity, broken through by an excellent ball that came to him on his left, not his favoured. Had a good go at it, got some power behind it, but it was relatively straightforward for Kettings to charge down, and then blasted by Danny Lowe at the far corner, arriving in the box, and Kettings parried it wide out for a throw-in.
Guiseley continue the pressure, cross comes in, headed up into the air by Swain, that goes behind for a Guiseley corner.
And you can tell from the sound in the ground in the stands here at Nethermoor, there's a feeling that these are Guiseley's crucial opportunities to put this game to bed. That after some dangerous moments from Bromley in the last few minutes, Guiseley need to take the advantage of one of these opportunities to get themselves a 2-goal lead.
It has to be said, when I think of situations like this, Southport comes back to mind as this corner is taken short. Now Smith. Back now to Norburn. Here's Norburn again. Goes for the curling effort in towards the back post. Goalkeeper Kettings was under pressure as I think it was Adam Smith that was looking to get something on it ahead of him. But a really good cross-come shot.
Oh, make no mistake, Chris, that was nestling in the far corner of the goal. He'd placed that, I was absolutely directly behind it, and he'd placed that perfectly. Really good, important save by Kettings, that, or a certain goal.
It was a really, really nice effort and a completely different type of strike to the one we saw earlier on where he put pure power into it. That was very much a curling effort. As a free kick goes against Guiseley.
Yeah, Hurst coming in off the flank, trying to get involved in that attacking move. Didn't see that as a foul myself.
The ball's played forward now by Bromley. They're taking the free kick short. And it's back now with Ben Chorley. Inside now to Ali Fusini, inside the centre circle. Just brings it into the Guiseley half. Looks to lift it up towards Moses Emmanuel. If by the end of 90 minutes we've kept him quiet and off the score sheet, I think we've done quite well, to be honest. But there is still just under 20 minutes to go.
20 more minutes?
By my reckoning, yeah.
Oh, it's dark. It should be nearly over by now. I don't really want another 20 minutes of 1-0.
71 on the clock, there or thereabouts. I did start about... Oh, good ball into the path of Adam Boyes. No, it was Dudley, sorry. It was Anthony Dudley who had the ball played into him by Boyes.
Oh, it was another beautiful pass just to play Dudley in, who was on the shoulder of the defender. Kept himself onside, perfectly timed ball. First time shot, another good save by Kettings, who's proving hard to beat at the moment.
He's only been beaten the once so far this afternoon, and that was by something absolutely special. It's Ali Fusini. Well, you can feel pretty hard done to there because Rothery went down and has won the free kick. But Nick, I don't think you agree with that one.
That's another laughable decision, I'm afraid, by the referee, but this time in Guiseley's favour.
As the free kick's been taken now by Norburn over to that far side. There's a man free. The cross comes in, headed away by Bromley. So Guiseley get themselves another free kick, and again he just seemed to slip over. It was, who is it?
I'm not sure that time, Chris. Sorry, I was distracted by photobombing Collins' team radio selfie there.
It was Will Hatfield that went down, and I'm sure he just slipped.
At least you're a pro. Yeah, no, I don't think that was a foul either.
I think he just fell over. He just lost his footing.
I didn't see anything in it, which is why I looked away and didn't pay any attention.
So, free kick for Guiseley on the right-hand side inside the Bromley half as the free kick goes in. Headed away by Bromley, only out as far as James Hurst. Hurst delivers the ball back across, comes to the edge of the box, and anywhere will do for Bromley.
We're seeing some agricultural clearances out of play here, aren't we? Bromley know they're under pressure.
We are going to see another change for Bromley fairly shortly. Yet to see any changes from Mark Bauer. Just a quick reminder on the bench that there is a few attacking options as they look to come forward, and they've got themselves a corner of Guiseley. They've done well working the throw-in from the lumped clearance out of play by Bromley.
Now, as you say, Chris, Tom Craddock, Liam Dickinson, Nicky Boschel, all forward attacking players on the bench, alongside Ryan Tulson and Dan Atkinson, the spare keeper.
Another cross from the corner from Adam Smith. Can we make this one count? Headed away by Bromley, only half cleared. Now Boyce on the edge of the box. Bromley player does get enough to block it. First time delivery back in, only hits Lee Minshall. To be fair, it's not hard to hit Lee Minshall. He's absolutely massive.
Yeah, what they definitely have at the moment, particularly since that change to bring Wall on, is a significant height advantage, Bromley.
I think they were winning those stakes fairly well beforehand.
Yeah.
And as we say, Alex Wall, who came on a few minutes ago, now Rothery, nobody in support. Asking a lot there of Danny Lowe. As Pierre-Joseph Dubois does get something on ahead of it. And here's Moses Emmanuel, comes down the right-hand side. Is he looking to chip him? Well, that would have been the most optimistic of efforts, because he was only, less than 8 or 9 yards away from this right-hand touchline, midway inside the Guiseley half. And he seemed to get the height for it. It was
a lovely tennis shot, Chris, in this weekend of Davis Cup action. There was plenty of backspin on it, dropped perfectly into the body of Drench. Good work, good slice.
It was just a peculiar one.
Barrow are 2-1 up against Woking, so presumably all their players will be out on loan again this weekend.
I wonder if Liam's Hearns scored for Barrow.
I do not know.
It's been quite a big week, really, with managerial changes and players going all over the place. Of course, Paul Cox taking over at Barrow following the dismissal of Darren Edmondson, and then Neil Aspin's been appointed as the manager at Gateshead as well. So that will end his scouting missions that he was doing for Tranmere Rovers.
It's a shame all the teams we're playing over the next month or so seem to be changing their managers.
Well, that's an excellent ball from right to left to find Anthony Dudley, who dives inside from the defender. Still Anthony Dudley inside the box, goes for goal, blocked. And the referee seemed to be waving an advantage there. I'm not sure where he was deciding the advantage was in that. Meanwhile, Danny Lowe is on his haunches, but he's back up onto his feet now. He looked like he was just stretching a leg out there.
Yeah, left hamstring, I think. We'll keep an eye on that, because that could be a little bit problematic. He's still holding it. Anyway, Guiseley with the attacking throw-in.
76 minutes gone. Guiseley looking to get the ball into the box. Again, it's just over everyone, but I think even in that situation, you could have had two Liam Dickinson stood on top of each other, and it probably wouldn't have met the header.
Now, of the options we do have on the bench, I'm afraid a left-back isn't one of them. Ben Parker not fit to be involved with the first team today. Danny Lowe doesn't seem to be moving very happily. He's not signalled that he needs to come off, but a tweak of a major muscle like that, if he's got a slight strain, would certainly cause us some problems in the busy weeks ahead, if nothing else.
Still not a great deal of activity on the Lions bench at the moment. Just the one or two maybe out warming up, but we haven't really seen anything that would suggest that Mark was looking to change things as Guiseley continue a goal up. Bromley look to come forward though, and here's Pierre-Joseph Dubois inside the Guiseley 18-yard box. 3 shirts around him. Alex Wall goes for goal, and I think he's cleared the other side of the AstroTurf behind that goal.
He has. There's a rarity. I think that's hit the skin clinic across the road there.
That's hit the A50. So is it 65?
Lovely stuff.
It was an absolutely atrocious effort because Pierre-Joseph Dubois had done really well. He pulled it back to him. 12 yards out perhaps, and Wall smashed it. And we're not going to see that ball again, to be honest. We're going to see a substitution now for Bromley. Number 8, Reece Prestige is going off. He's being replaced by Dan Ajakai. So Reece Prestige off and Ajakai on.
Well, the visitors doing exactly as you'd expect, adjusting their team and their players.
Making another one as well. I think that was 24, which by my reckoning is Thomas Connor, who's come off to replace Aaron Tumwa.
Yeah, that's right, Chris.
Ball forward now from Guiseley. Alex Wall picks up the loose pass. Now Pierre-Joseph Dubois over on this right-hand side up against Daniel Lowe. Ball goes out of play for a Guiseley throw, according to the linesman on this near side.
Lots of fresh players for Guiseley to keep looking at here now. People taking up new positions, markers changing.
Again, it kind of adds to me as to I'm wondering whether we will and why we haven't seen a change from markers yet, because...
Well, I think we're playing quite well. I think we deserve to be in the lead, and we've defended well throughout the game so far.
3 sets of fresh legs on the pitch for Bromley as Anthony Dudley heads away a throw-in.
But there is a definite sense of rising pressure as Bromley pose a different threat now to how they started the game.
Now Lockwood looks to get there ahead of Emmanuel. Emmanuel wins that battle, but his flicked header looking to find the run of the substitute that's just come on. Thomas Connor just goes through to Stephen Drench.
Now 1-1 between Lincoln and Welling, also in the National League.
Now the ball from Drench played over to that right-hand side. It somehow stays in play. And if you've seen it out, back to the captain, Rob Swain.
How soon is it going to be over, Chris? We must be nearly there, surely.
9 minutes plus added time to go. Still one. It is like that, isn't it? It's like, can we hold these out?
I hate these 1-0s.
It's the ball that goes out of play on that far side. It was the substitute Dan Ajakai that couldn't keep that in. So it's a throw in for Guiseley, but it is midway inside their own half.
Like, can we either get the disappointment over and done with nice and early rather than saving it till injury time, or can we put the game to bed, please?
Now Rothery comes forward, finds Dudley. Dudley with one man to beat before the edge of the 18-yard box. He just stalled a little bit too long there, and that allowed plenty of red shirts to get back. And the danger is gone as Joseph Dubois brings that forward. Looks to find Emmanuel, deflects off him, back to Lockwood. Lockwood plays a slightly nervy pass back to Drench, who clears it downfield first time, which goes out of play 10 yards away from the corner flag, very deep inside the Bromley half.
Slightly unfortunate for Dudley in that move. He's a player with good balance, but one of his feet came from underneath him on the wet turf, and it caused him, as you say, Chris, just to stall. It allowed a couple of extra red shirts to get back.
Dudley heads that infield, finds Boys. Boys now links up with Adam Smith. Still Smith, lots of distance to go, and went for goal from a good 35 yards out again. They've all fancied a piece of this after Oliver Auburn's superb strike towards the end of the first half, but that one never really troubling. 4 or 5 yards high and wide.
Yeah, they're all trying to get featured on the BT highlights, aren't they?
Ball forward now from Bromley. Danny Lowe does well, gets there ahead of the Bromley man, but his clearance doesn't have the distance that he would have liked as Oliver Norburn ends up with a poor touch that puts it out of play for a Bromley throw. They should have taken quickly. The ball back at the feet of Alex Wall. Low cross. Lockwood can only put that behind for a corner. And I'm pretty sure that's just bounced off Colin's car by my reckoning.
I think you might be right. Dover now 4-2 down to Halifax at the Shea. And very dangerous times for Guiseley here.
This is
significant height advantage, as we've said, and a corner would be the perfect place to use that.
We are going to see a substitute for Guiseley in the near future, but only after this corner is delivered, right-footed. Headed goal bound. Stephen Drench got a hand on it to get it away. The referee has seen an offside decision.
You know, I think that may have actually come off of the face of Stephen Drench. He went for it with his hands, headed just in front of him as we hear Gateshead 1-0 up at Chester, at home to Chester, sorry.
We are going to see a change now. And it's Nicky Boschel who is making, well, let's be fair, a relatively long-awaited return to first-team action. He's been away and out of the side for some time through a combination of injury and, frankly, through form perhaps as well of other players keeping him out of the side.
Well, Adam Smith has dropped in influence as the game has gone on in the second half, and I suspect what we'll probably see when Guiseley reset is Boschel to drift over to the left and Dudley maybe to move to the right. And at the moment, Boschel is lining up as a direct replacement for Smith.
Excellent header there from Adam Lockwood, who was then later, a couple of moments later, caught by Alex Wall. It would be like being clattered by an actual wall, wouldn't it, the size of him?
Yeah, he's huge. I mean, Adam Lockwood's not a small man, but yeah.
Just over 5 plus added time to go, Nick. I love how all these mentions of time are just met by
It's kind of
noise,
a
just noises.
Grimace. I mean, I know there's been quite a lot of substitutions.
Stephen Drench is going to receive a bit of treatment here. He was, I think, looking to take this free kick, but Max Stringfell's come on. He looks like he may have got
I think
something in the face.
I think he's got a nosebleed from that one that smacked him in the face in the 6-yard box just a couple of moments ago, Chris. It was the one that he went for with his hands, and a Bromley player stole in front of him and headed it, I think, towards him. And really, Drench was lucky that his head was in the way to save it. I imagine he's not feeling too fortunate right now.
I was going to say, you try telling him that now that he's lucky. He's the lucky one. But I do completely understand your point, because if he hadn't have saved it with his face, it would have been a certain equaliser for the visitors.
It was too close to make a snap save or a reflex change.
Just snapped his nose.
Yeah. Poor guy. Anyway.
Don't talk to Liam Dickinson about broken noses.
Oh, really?
Cheltenham.
Yeah. Yeah, hard as nails.
2 black eyes as well after the last home game as well as Liam Dickinson. I wonder if they've gone down now just about. Stephen Drench now takes the free kick, which goes over to that right hand side.
He's been in the wars a bit recently, hasn't he?
Now Boys chasing down Ali Fusini well. Ball goes out of play off Boys, but it's good work rate.
Really good chasing down by Boys late in the game with the sliding challenge out there in the left channel. Not a lot of number 9s will bother to keep that level of work up so deep into a game.
So they look to come forward now to Bromley through Ben Chorley. Sends to the left-hand side. That's cleared downfield, looking for Dan Ashakai.
In fact, we've resisted using the term gegenpressing so far on our commentary, Chris, but that was almost Klopp-esque pressing from Boys.
Throwing now for Bromley. Midway inside the Guiseley half on that far side, the left-hand side, as Bromley look to attack. And it's not too far away from the edge of the 18-yard box. As this long throw is headed away by Guiseley. Back out, though, to the throw-in taker. Cross comes in, right-footed. Emmanuel is there. It's the kind of position he thrives on, but it's been defended well by Guiseley. Now Gavin Rothery going to look to come forward. He's playing in Anthony Dudley. Now Dudley, pull touch initially. Danny Lowe continues the overlapping run, gets into the box, pulls the ball across. Surely now, great save, Chris Kettings, but it has been turned in by Anthony Dudley. It's a great spell of play, a great counter-attack from the home side. And it was really unlucky, to be honest, for Chris Kettings. He pulled off a brilliant save, but it fell very kindly and very nicely to Anthony Dudley, and that's the kind of look that we've needed of late. And that gets the second and should see the game beyond doubt. Guiseley 2, Bromley 0.
An absolutely fantastic goal from Guiseley on the break. That was Danny Lowe, the left back, ghosting into the area, past his man, beating him for pace, squaring the ball perfectly. And as you say, Kettings finally beaten. He's been so hard to force a ball past in this second half. Saves really important interventions time and again, as Guiseley have looked to try and put this game to bed, but finally, with just a few minutes to go, a 2-0 lead, and surely that'll be too much for Bromley to come back from now.
And we've said a couple of times earlier in the season that the games against the Tranmere's, the Cheltenhams, the Grimsbys, the Lincolns, etc. don't really affect your season that much. It's these games against the sides, for example, that came up with you. And of course, Bromley are one of those, having won the Conference South as it was last season. It's these sides that the guys need to be beat. The sides that, let's be honest, are on paper the same as them.
Well, Guiseley are in mid-table. Let's not make any bones about it. And if you get points against teams who are in mid-table with you, then you will accelerate more rapidly away from the relegation zone than by beating the teams who are at the top of the table, but losing to the teams who are around you. It's just simple. But to get a win, with a clean sheet like this, that will be an absolutely perfect afternoon's work. Let's see if Guiseley can see it out with a clean sheet. Bromley on the break.
Well, here comes Thomas Connor. He runs into a few puddles. He's got 3 white shirts around him. We're going to see 4 minutes of added time. As a free kick goes in Guiseley's favour, I think.
I think so.
He's not put his arm either way, but everybody's walking away.
Mark Bowers having a chat with the fourth official. He doesn't know where the time's come from, but there's been a lot of substitutions in this second half, and 1 or 2 slight injuries. I don't think 4 minutes is unreasonable.
Well, we are going to see another change for Guiseley, and it's Tom Craddock who's going to replace Adam Boys. He's put in another good shift, but he just hasn't had the luck when it's come to getting the chances to get on the score sheet.
No, his opportunities early on in the game with his head when he was outside of the line of the goals, very, very difficult to glance a header onto target when it's behind you effectively. And that one in the second half that came on his left foot, a good save by Kettings. He's worked ever so hard, as you say, though, not his day in front of goal. It really doesn't matter as long as the team put in a performance to get a positive result. And it does look like, as a team at the moment, Guiseley have done enough to achieve that today.
Well, Tom Craddock's first part in play is to concede a free kick there. Again, not entirely sure how, though, because it was the captain, Rob Swain, that went down like a sack of spuds.
He must have a very, very low centre of gravity for such a big man.
He must have very weak legs.
Dragging him down to the ground. Yeah, maybe. You go and say that to him. After I mocked his tough guy tattoos earlier, I'm not going to go over and say it myself.
It's okay, we won't know who he's punching. We look the same, apparently.
Right, yeah, that happened against Woking, didn't it?
As Bromley now looked to get a cross in, and it was met by one of 2 red shirts at the back post. Alex Wall being one of them, but he's put it wide from very close range. It was to the right of the goal.
Yeah, just poked it home. He was in a similar position to that Adam Boy's header actually in the first half. He was out wider than the near post. And as he stabbed his foot out towards it, could just poke it past the goal. It's cold, Chris. That's why my explanations aren't making sense. I can barely
Ball
feel
sent
my tongue.
Downfield by Stephen Drench. Of course, Tom Craddock is somebody that hasn't really seen a great deal of first-team action for some time. In honesty, he's been limited to substitute appearances. Just the 2 goals so far this season.
Yeah.
His last one, of course, in the 1-0 away win at Braintree back in September. As the ball does now come to him inside the penalty area. It's crossed towards Anthony Dudley. 3 red shirts between the ball and Dudley, though, and that is cleared away. Ali Fusini loses his footing, but Bromley continue to have possession. A good block from Nicky Boschel, but Bromley pick up the loose ball. In the centre circle now, it's played over to the left-hand side to the captain, Swain. Back to Minshall. Now Minshall looks to come forward. Good ball out to that left-hand side to find the substitute. Danny Lowe is there as the low cross is played into the 6-yard box. Danny Lowe gets it away for a throw.
Good
now
awareness
Minshall.
by Lowe, came away from the man he was marking to drill that cross away. And it is the final act of the game.
The referee blows the full-time whistle here at Nethermore Park. It's a 3-point victory for Guiseley. An all-important 3 points perhaps come the end of the season. Goals from Oliver Norburn with an absolute stunner minutes before half-time. And the second from Anthony Dudley a short time ago to wrap up all 3 points for the Lions. It's been a good afternoon's work for Mark Bauer's side. 2 goals, 3 points and a clean sheet to boot as well. In a much-needed win after a poor run of results. So full-time here at Nethermore Park. Guiseley 2, Bromley 0.
As you say, Chris, after a difficult run of games, it's really important to get back to winning ways at the first possible opportunity. And today has been a very good team performance by Guiseley. And perhaps telling that the first 2 players off the pitch are Tom Craddock and Nicky Boschel. Everybody who started this game is still out there, soaking in the atmosphere, shaking hands, patting each other on the back, and enjoying the afterglow of a job well done. And it was a good team performance. Everybody from Drench through to boys played their part. Nobody you could say today didn't contribute or had a bad game. No standout performers either. Instead, just a really good, solid performance, repelling the visitors when they came forward on the break, taking a couple of opportunities going forward, and eventually doing enough to calm our 1-0 nerves and give us a comfortable last few minutes to the game.
Well, stay with me for a second or so, Nick. Just going to run through the other results in the Vanarama National League. These are all latest or full times. Eastleigh 1, Southport 0, Aldershot 0, Cheltenham 2, Barrow 2, Woking 1, Borehamwood 0, Tranmere Rovers 0, Braintree 0, Torquay 0, Forest Green 2, Altrincham 0. Forest Green reduced to 10, Altrincham reduced to 9 in that game.
Wow.
Gateshead 1, Chester 0, Grimsby 1, Kidderminster Harriers 0, Guiseley 2, Bromley 0, Halifax 4, Dover 2, Lincoln City 1, Welling 1, and Wrexham 2, Macclesfield 3. So, final roundup, Nick, of course, with Halifax winning 4-2 today, back-to-back wins for them, and us taking a 2-0 victory here. Does that set up as a good thing or a bad thing going to the Shay next Saturday?
Neither. Halifax always play well against us. It's a local derby. It would always be a tough game. It's the time of the season, when the teams who have started pretty badly, or the chairman and owners who've got a bit anxious, changed their managers. They're looking for impacts, and there's a few new managers around us in the table. So what a good Saturday to have got 3 points on the board today and set us up well going into play what apparently looked like quite a different Halifax proposition to the ones we played those stodgy games against in the FA Cup just about a month ago.
They've scored 8 goals in the last 2 games. They suddenly seem to know where the net is, which is, as I say, was kind of what we've been relying on for the meetings we'd had with them this season. Do join us here on Guiseley AFC Radio for that one. We'll be live from the Shay next Saturday as we travel to FC Halifax Town in the Vanarama National League. Don't forget as well, the FA Trophy first round draw takes place on Monday. We are in the hat for that one, so keep out for us, and we'll be sure to be on Twitter tweeting about that one. And as Nick tries to cut me off, it's probably worth ending on this note. A good 3 points, a clean sheet, and probably the goal of the season from Norburn. Ta-ra!